Welcome back to The Chatter Platter, a show where I, along with guests, talk about random events in our lives to the point where you may question what's wrong with us. I'm your host, Corel Ruffle, here with Zachary, and the menu of this episode will be a continuation of my last episode, Mercy, where I talk about the pacifist route of Undertale and struggle being a good person. So, without further ado, let's dig in. To give you a recap on where we left off, we arrived at Hotland and met Alphys and Mettaton. Throughout the laboratory, and after all the challenges that robot threw at me, we eventually faced each other in battle. And now? But then after all of that teasing, we actually get into fights. And honestly, in my opinion, that Mettaton fight was the hardest for me in the pacifist route, but it was also the coolest. I personally thought Mettaton was hard. And speaking about hard fights, I actually forgot about this one fight. So, in the beginning of the game, there's this spider lady.
Oh, Muffet.
Muffet, yeah. And she has a bake sale. And apparently in the game, if you don't buy something from her that costs a huge amount of money, then she will fight you. Scratch Mettaton, she was the hardest for me. No, I'm generally angry thinking about her fights. And then I talked about it to Norman. And he said that fight was easy. I've died so many times just because of that little girl who sells bakery. Just because I didn't buy her food. I had mental breakdowns because of that monster. But eventually, I spared her, even though I was really angry. But I had to, for the sake of the pacifist route.
Exactly.
But let's forget about that.
Yeah.
But after you defeat Mettaton, you end up meeting Asgore, right?
Well, before that, you get judged.
Oh.
You go into Judge Hall, and there is Sans standing in the corridors. But since you're a pacifist, he's like, yeah, you're pretty good. You can go. And so we leave without any problem.
And if you're wondering what being judged means, he basically judged you if you did the genocide route or the pacifist route.
Yeah. He knows what you've done.
He knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And speaking about knowing a lot of stuff, there's a lot of moments in Undertale where it breaks the fourth wall.
Yes, like Asgore fight. Asgore fight is different for the pacifist route because you have to fight him. You can't spare him.
Yeah.
If you try to talk to him, I know one of the dialogues is just you tell Asgore that you killed him or that he killed you before. And
Really?
He acknowledges it and his attacks get a little bit weaker. I found that so cool.
Oh my gosh.
Because you know how the other human souls before them must have had determination, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The theory is just he knows about the other humans, and the reason the other humans didn't keep resetting is because they gave up and then let him win. So I just thought that was really oh my
gosh.
Crazy fourth wall break.
Okay, to give you listeners some insight, the reason why the monsters are so into wanting to kill humans have what they call determination. And the monsters need to use that determination in order to break the barrier that's sealing them in the underground. Anyways, after you get through Asgore, Flowey comes in, and Flowey's like, you know what? I'm the villain. I'm gonna take everybody's souls, and then I'm gonna become the god of this world. And he gathers all the souls, including the human souls, and then he becomes an unstoppable god that you have to fight. And I fought that, and I was terrified. But I also thought it was a really cool fight because once he gathers all the souls, the game actually crashes. And then once you reboot the game, Flowey ends up not talking to the player, but to you directly. And then eventually he turns into this weird monster. You have to find a way to defeat him. And the moment you die, he keeps resetting the actual save point to where you first fought him.
Oh, okay. So basically, since he has the determination from all the souls, it's stronger than yours. And that's why he has the power of reset, so he can overwrite your save. But a cool little thing, if you don't save once in the entire pacifist route and you go straight to Flowey, you skip the boss fight.
Really?
Yeah,
I
because
did
there's
not
no
know.
save files.
What?
Yes. Oh, it was so like granted, that'd be really hard to do. To beat
Very
an
hard.
entire pacifist route without dying. I don't know. At least for us, I feel like that'd be kind
No,
of
for
hard.
me, I would be cooked. I would be done. No, people who can do that without saving, they're insane.
But after that, you keep on. I don't remember if you fight or like outlast him.
So it's kind of like both. While you're fighting him, there are certain moments where each soul acts up to try to help you out. And eventually, once you interacted with all the souls, they start backlashing on Flowey. And then eventually, Flowey loses control of his god powers. And then he goes back to a normal flower. At that point, there is two options. You can spare Flowey, or you can kill him for all the crimes he's done. But because I'm a good person, I chose to show mercy. And the thing is, the moment you show mercy, he'll actually tell you how to get the true pacifist route. And basically, he kind of goes back to one of your save files to where you first go into Hotland. And then, once you do like your normal path, what you already done, he actually adds a feature where you can go on a date with Alphys.
Oh.
Once you get on that date with Alphys, you eventually get Alphys to get with Undyne. In order to get like the true pacifist route, you have to do all these friend events. So like hanging out with Undyne, making sure you go on a date with Alphys. But once you do all the friend events, you're allowed to do the pacifist route. And after you go past Asgore, we eventually get to the point, since you befriended everyone, everybody you know, like Sans, Papyrus, Toriel, Undyne, Alphys, they basically all get together and they're kind of like, oh my gosh, Frisk, are you okay? And we're all happy and stuff. We're all together. And instead of facing Omega Flowey, Flowey turns into a kid named Asriel, which is the son of Toriel and Asgore. Asriel also turns into some sort of wicked god. But when you defeat him, instead of, Flowey, like resetting the timeline, he actually uses that power to like break the barrier. And then everybody is freed and we have all our friends by our side. That's basically the ending. That's the best way I can explain it. I'm not really the best at explaining things. But from my experience of the pacifist route, it was hard for me, even though it's supposed to be easy. I sucked at playing games, but I had lots of fun. That's my experience. We're going to talk about Zachary's experience in the genocide route. But it seems like you have to tune into next episode to listen to Zachary's side on the genocide route. And let me tell you, it's a crazy path that brought forth lots of emotions. Not good ones, I tell you. And perhaps even brought up a more psychotic side of Zachary. Ugh. Tears will be shed, hearts will be broken, and dreams will be turned to dust. Though, we always remember, don't give up and stay determined. Well, it seems like our plates have emptied and the content is full. So I would like to thank all of you for tuning in to the Chatter Platter. If you or someone you may know may be interested in listening to more of my content, you can tune in on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and on podcast.com. The Chatter Platter also has an Instagram to keep you in touch. Just search side.platter. And if you would like to come chatter with me or share some episode ideas, feel free to leave a comment, message, or a review, as well as follow to feast on more random stories. I'm Corel Raffol, here to chatter on this platter, and I'll see you next episode.